Hi. As you may know, HAR files are large and complex. They capture the data exchange between a browser and a website. Typically, this information is visualized using the browser's F12 developer tools. However, it's also possible to export a HAR file and use it externally. To do that effectively, it helps to understand what the file contains and how it's structured. In this video, we'll walk through how to process a sample HAR file using the Jumble tool, with the goal of revealing its domain model. Let's begin by uploading the file into the tool. On the right-hand side, you'll see the data visualized as a graph. Elements from the file appear as nodes with their properties attached. On the left, there's a digest showing a summary of the data structure. Once we tidy up the layout and remove the upload and file nodes, you'll see that the data is organized as a hierarchy of objects and arrays. Objects contain primitive values like strings and numbers. This reflects the typical structure of JSON, which is the underlying format for HAR files. The key domain concepts are embedded in the keys and values of these properties. Let's take a closer look. We'll start by bridging the arrays. Arrays are just named collections of objects. This operation adds a new relationship, labeled bridge, which includes properties like key, level, and path. We'll rename this relationship to part. Now that the array concept has been expressed through relationships, we can delete it. It's no longer needed. Each object's role is stored in its key property. So far, only about 300 objects have this key because they were part of another object. Objects that were part of arrays have their keys stored in the relationship instead. We'll consolidate this by copying the key from the relationship directly to the object itself. With that done, all objects now have their keys. We can remove the key, level, and path properties from the relationship. They're no longer necessary. Next, we'll consolidate the object properties. Right now, primitive values like strings, numbers, and booleans are stored as individual nodes. We'll convert each key value pair into a new property on the parent object. This step creates 49 new properties, one for each unique key type. These properties are then copied to the appropriate parent objects. We can now delete the original value concept. It has served its purpose. At this point, everything is represented as an object. To better understand the structure, we'll group the objects based on their role in the hierarchy. We'll use the consolidated key property to assign labels, splitting the objects into 19 distinct categories. These new labels also apply color coding to the nodes, making them easier to distinguish. Next, we reset the layout to better visualize the hierarchical structure of the HAR file. Let's clean it up a bit further. We can delete all non-domain properties. They're no longer needed. We'll also remove the generic object label by editing it. But be careful. Don't delete the object concept itself, as this would remove all its sub-elements too. What's left is the domain model. At the root, we have a JSON object that contains a log. The log includes a creator, pages, and entries. The pages section shows that this example contains 3 pages, each with a unique ID and timing data. The entries section contains individual HTTP transactions. Each entry includes an initiator, cache information, a request, a response, and timing details. The initiator shows what triggered the request. It could be a parser, a script, or something else. Some initiators also include a stack trace. Since this example didn't use cache, that section is empty. The requests detail the URL, method, and version used, along with the header and body sizes. They also reference post data, query strings, and headers. The responses include status codes, any redirects, and transfer sizes. They also link to response headers and the content itself. Each entry also includes timing data, showing how long each stage of the request took. You might notice that cookies are not included. That's because only sanitized HAR files can be saved, and sanitization removes cookies and other sensitive data. And there you have it, the domain model of a HAR file. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to reach out.